Okay, kids, get excited. Look who's back. Look who is back. The purple texter has been found. Everybody can relax. This is going to be the well above section of your linear algebra unit, I suppose. I found this test lying around the room that I'm working at the moment, which was really, really handy. And there's only really one other question that I want to do, but we'll start off really by looking at this particular little beauty here. So we'll write out a bit bigger. So 3x plus 2 divided by 4. Take away 4x plus 3 divided by 2 is equal to 4. Now, if we have a look at this particular question, it's really kind of a fraction question and a negative question. Because really we can't take these away because these are quarters and these are halves. So we're going to start off pretty quickly by timesing this by 4. 2. Whoops, that was almost a big mistake. And that means we've got to times the top here by 2. Now, that is pretty stock standard. A lot of kids make mistakes here. They try and cross multiply, but there's not an equals here. This is a minus. The equals is actually over here. So you can't actually do that. What you're really doing is making equivalent fractions here. So you times this by 2 and the top by 2. So what I'm actually going to do, though, is I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to make this all over 4. And of course, this would be 4, so this would be 4, so we don't take the bottom number of a fraction when we're taking them away. But I did it this way because I want to really make note of this particular thing. So this minus 2 is what makes this question particularly quite difficult. And where a lot of kids get it wrong is basically the multiplication between the minus 2 and the positive 3. So we're going to get 3x plus 2. And then minus 2 times 4x is minus 8x. And minus 2 times positive 3 is negative 6. Now, a lot of kids will remember to do this. They'll go minus 2 times 4x, but they'll sometimes put positive 6 here. And that is, of course, means the rest of the question is wrong. And that's quite sad. So we're going to get 3x minus 8x is going to be negative 5x, and we're going to get plus 2 minus 6 is minus 4, and that's, of course, going to go over this 4. So I'll times by 4, because this is a divide by 4. I'll times this side by 4. I'll get minus 5x minus 4 is equal to 16. I will add 4. I will add 4, and I'll get minus 5x is equal to 20, and then I'll divide by minus 5, and I'll divide by minus 5, and x becomes equal to negative 4. Okay, so really the tricky part in this question is this bit. Okay, now you'll notice that I left it to as late as I possibly could, because I just want to do this times once. Sometimes another thing that kids can do is go, well, okay, I can apply this negative twice. And so just be careful. That's the way I tend to deal with it. And that, of course, is that question. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up one. This could be, of course, a complete disaster, but the other type of question that you received in your well above was, let's go say 2x plus 4 over 2 is equal to 4x plus 10 over 4 plus 1. And it's this plus 1 that means that right at the start we can't cross multiply this particular question. And generally speaking, a lot of kids go, well, we'll just take one and take one. But it's not the way in which you deal with this. So really, I'm going to deal with this, which is a fraction plus a whole number. So I'm going to make my whole number a fraction. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it the same fraction by, of course, timesing by 4 on both sides. So that's going to give me 4x plus 10 plus 4, and both of them over a quarter. Now, that means, of course, that I can put them together. Don't add these two numbers because they're fractions. And then I'm going to get 4x plus 10 plus 4. And on the other side, of course, I haven't done anything yet. I've just left it as it is. So 2x plus 4 divided by 2. Now, if we look at this, we can group these together. So we're going to get 4x plus 14 over 4. And we're going to get 2x plus 4 over 2. Now, unlike the last question that I just did a minute ago, this is an equal sign. So I can actually cross multiply. So times this side by 4 to get rid of this 4. I can times that side by 4 as well. And then I can times this side by 2 to get rid of this 2, and then times the other side by 2. And then realistically, from this point, if you're watching this video for well enough, you should know what to do here. So we're going to get 8x plus 16, and we're going to get 8x plus 28, and this is why you should never make questions up. And so in that particular way, really, it just made this point here, but of course this is going to cause us a lot of troubles because 8x take 8x, of course, is going to be 0. Well, it's actually going to get rid of our x's. So we should never make questions up. We should always think about them before we make them. But it does point out the point around this particular aspect of this question. Deal with the plus sign before you do it. Okay, not a great example. It's not the first time though, is it, kids? Let's be honest. Right, next, let's have a look at this one. So probably the last thing I'm going to talk about, and that, of course, is if you have a look, a lot of the well above in this, we are dedicated to our understanding fractions. So 3x divided by 5. Okay, wow. So lots of different things, lots of different levels, double, triple, quadruple decker, all those kinds of things. But how am I going to solve this? Well, I'm going to start by cross multiplying, funnily enough. I'm going to times this side by 5, I'm going to times this side by 5, and I'm going to times this side by 3/4. I'm going to times this side by 3/4. Well, that's not 3/4, there it is. So I'm going to get 3x over 5 times 3 over 4. And I'm going to get 5 lots of x minus 2 over 3 to 4. So, timesing a fraction, 3x times 3 is 9x, and 5 times 4 is 20. And over this side, I'm going to go 5 times x, so that's 5x minus 10 over 3. Okay, because remember, this would be 5 over 1, 5 times 2, 1 times 3. So now I've got this. What am I going to do? Well, I think that I might, of course, times this by 20, which means I need to times this by 20. So I'm going to get 9x's over here, 20 times 5. Wow, geez, 5 20s are 100. X. Take away, well, 200 over 3 equals 9x. So if we have a look at this, I'm going to go... We'll take 9x. Now, I don't usually like to do this. And take 9x. And that's going to give me 91x minus 200 over 3. So I'm going to go 91x is equal to, now I'll add 200 over 3 and add 200 over 3 on this side. So that's 200 over 3. I'm going to times by 3 here and times by 3 there. 391s. 273. And divide by 273 and divide by 273. And x is equal to 200 over 273. Pretty big number. I'm pretty sure that we could probably find some number that fits into that. All right. So, big question. Lots of stuff in there. If there's an error in it, I'll give you a Kinder Surprise if you can pick it. I think I've done all right, though. If I have a look back over it, I did do it quite quickly, because of course you wanted me to make videos on almost everything that we did this year. But pretty solid, that may be your answer. Okay, kids, thank you very much. It's a pleasure once again to talk to you. How happy are you that Big Tex is back, even though it's bad. Bye-bye.